everyone, and welcome back to Hannah's Happy Home. Today's video is going to be a landscaping outdoor house projects video. So I'll be taking you along over the course of a couple of weeks as I work on landscaping around our home and outdoor projects, and I'll just be trying to get everything reset and cleaned up outside for summertime. We'll be setting up a swimming pool. I was also wanting to plant a few new plants, and so on this shopping trip to Tucson, I started off, of course, by grabbing a coffee, and I've been trying to try out some new coffee shops each time I come to town. So I tried out a new coffee shop, delicious coffee, really friendly people. I'll put the name of that coffee shop here on the screen. And then I headed over to Sivano Nursery, a really great nursery here in Tucson, really helpful people. They have a great selection. I did find a plant there, walked around, tried to get some inspiration, and then I headed over to Rosette Nursery, which I would highly recommend checking out in Tucson. Such a cute little nursery and always great to shop local. They've got a great setup here, and they have a shipping container that they turned into this cute little garden shop with these different vases, little cactus pots, garden decor, different things like that. So always fun to come and shop here, and I did end up purchasing a star jasmine. After that, I headed over to Lowe's to grab a few more things and also to get some garden soil. I wanted to grab a few pavers, and it was just fun to shop through all of the new cactus, plants, flowers, trees, bushes that they had for summertime. Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful morning here in Arizona, and I'm excited to work on some landscaping today. I will be planting some new plants, restaining and resealing the beams at the front of our house, and also adding some new solar garden lights. I had some solar lights here previously, but I've had to replace these twice, and I think it's because they're flush with the ground, so they're getting direct hot sunlight, they're getting rain pouring down on top of them. So I'm going to try a different type of light today, and hopefully these work out well. I also may need to replace the light that we have here on the side of the house because this hasn't been working. So I'll just be taking you along today as I work on all of this, and also just taking you along over the next couple of weeks as I work on landscaping and outdoor projects on our property. This year we definitely want to focus on fixing up the front of our house. There is a lot that does need to be done out here. We eventually would love to replace these windows. For now, I'm just going to have to touch up the paint on the windows. 5 years ago, when we did the renovations on this home, we did paint the exterior of our windows black, and that does need to be touched up after so many years. And then we really want to give our front patio just a complete makeover. I'll share later on in the video what our ideas are for that, but that project will definitely be maybe a late fall project. I'm going to get started on this landscaping, and I hope that you enjoy this video. We do have drip line to each of these plants, and I was trying to adjust the drip line on this plant, and the nozzle ended up flying off, and so it was spraying everywhere. Had to fix that. But the first thing I wanted to do here was to transplant these little cactus. We have had this cactus for a few years. It's been growing like crazy. I believe this is called a organ pipe cactus or a night blooming cactus, not 100% sure, but this gets beautiful big white flowers. They're called night blooming because the flowers usually open up in the evening or overnight, so you can see them first thing in the morning. And this had quite a few large white flowers last month, but all that was left was those shriveled up pieces that I picked off there at the beginning. And this cactus is covered in little thorns. Even what was left of those flowers just had like little hair thorns, so you have to be sure to wear good gloves and be really careful when you're working with these. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little baby cactus off of this one cactus. Really happy about that. I don't have to buy any more. This one just keeps reproducing. I'm going to plant the smallest one over here in the corner and then space out the other ones just down this row in between the other plants. So as I was going along planting the cactus, I was trying to clean this up a little bit, pull out any weeds that were in the gravel, clear out the pine needles, make sure the gravel was spread evenly. Down here I'm going to plant a Hesperaloe red yucca, and these grow really well here in Arizona. They can withstand the heat. I'm hoping this will grow quickly here and kind of hide the wires and the box and everything here on the side of the house. This tall plant over here with the big thorns is called an ocotea. It can withstand the heat and drought, and this part of the house gets really hot sun in the afternoon, and so we had to plant things here that could withstand that heat. So the ocoteas do very well here. They get green leaves on them during the summertime. They also get some really pretty orange flowers out the top. And then these bushes are Texas sage, and this is something else that we have found that thrive here in our area. We have these lining our back porch. They're just going crazy there in the backyard. They do really well. So we do have a couple here at the front of the house, and I needed to trim these. I was using our cordless DeWalt hedge trimmer. It's a couple hours later, I'm back out here, and now you can see why I was trying to film early this morning, because now we have the hot afternoon sun beating down on the front of the house. But I have just one last thing I want to do out here, and that is to put these solar lights here in the ground facing towards the front of the house. I also have a little bit of raking to do, and I'm possibly going to seal this beam. We'll see how I'm feeling, and then I'd like to work in the next flower bed, but we'll just see. It's getting pretty hot out here. But I will link these solar lights down below. These are from Amazon. I think the fact that the light on these solar lights will be kind of sideways pointing towards the house and not straight up into the really hot sun is definitely going to help, and hopefully they will last a lot longer. I've got my second coffee of the day now. This one is kind of a healthier mocha latte. So it's cocoa powder and maple syrup. Okay, so I raked the front yard. I actually mowed around the trees and just trimmed it up a little bit. And now I'm going to start working at restaining and resealing these beams. I would just reseal them, but I feel like they really need, after 5 years, to be restained. So I'm using special walnut, and here you can see the difference. Once this completely dries, I will use that sealer. And yes, we did forget to put a piece of metal fascia here when we renovated 5 years ago. Maybe when we do the patio makeover, we'll remember to do this. Stay tuned, there is a lot coming up in this video. I'll be adding 3 new raised beds to my garden, putting all of those together, planting a lot of things in my garden, working on just a bunch of other projects and a lot of other planting. So I'm here working on our front patio, which, like I said, we're hoping to give this a makeover and kind of get it completely finished maybe later this fall. I had wanted to do a pergola in this whole area just to help it to feel more complete, and then also maybe adding a water fountain. We're going to rip out all of this concrete and pavers and add in some new pavers, maybe do new front doors. I want to plant grass between that front flower bed and that first row of trees, and then do a walkway up to the front porch. So a lot of different ideas. Stay tuned to see what we end up doing this fall. A few days later, I applied Thompson's clear water seal to these beams. So far, I've been really impressed with this brand of sealer. It was highly recommended, and I purchased this at Lowe's. They do have it in a couple of different colors, but I just went with the clear. So I had planted this vine last year, and unfortunately it didn't survive the winter, so I was taking that down, removing any vines that were left on the house. And I will be trying a different type of vine this year. I did my research on this one, and I'm going to do my best to keep this one alive, and hopefully it will survive longer than a year. This is a star jasmine, so give me all of your star jasmine tips down below. And I purchased this one at that little local rosette nursery, and he gave me a lot of tips as well. He said he has one outside of his front door here in Arizona, and it is just thriving, covered in flowers. So hoping this one will do the same. So what we have hanging here on the side of the house is actually just a piece of fence paneling that we spray painted black. We put some hooks into the stucco, and this has worked out great. So this planter box was in desperate need of being restained, and so I was working on that next. This is Special Walnut Stain by Minwax. I will let this stain dry for a couple of hours, and then we'll come back and apply the sealer. So as I was working on these outdoor projects and landscaping outside, every day about midday, I would come inside to the AC and take a break and mix up my daily AG1. This is something I've been drinking for years, love it, and thank you to AG1 for being a long-term sponsor of Hannah's Happy Home. So when I was working on the landscaping and I'd come in and mix this up on the really hot days, I'd actually throw in like a pack of lemon-flavored electrolytes as well, or I'd just drink it as is with ice, or sometimes I'll add in a squeeze of lemon juice. It's just always very refreshing and gives me a boost midday. It helps with bloating, my mood, energy, which I've really been needing lately. And in just this one scoop, you are getting 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients. And what's awesome is that they just upgraded their formula. So this is AG1 Next Gen. It's a new formula, more nutrients, and still the same price. They actually just upgraded their travel packs, which is really awesome because these would spill kind of easily. And so now they have these travel packs. I'll just throw these in my purse on the go, keep them in the truck. So I've got my scoop of AG1 in my cup here. I'm gonna fill it up to about 8 ounces with cold water, and then I'll add in like lemon juice or ice. And if you wanna try AG1, now is the perfect time to try it because you can get started with AG1 Next Gen for less than $3 a day when you subscribe. Just head to the link in my description or scan the QR code here on the screen, and you'll also get $76 of free extras. This is part of my daily routine, and I know that you will love it as part of your daily routine as well. So thank you to AG1 for continuing to be a sponsor of Hannah's Happy Home. Okay, so now I'm working on our little barn, and these doors really needed to be resealed, and so I wanted to clean the front of the barn, sweep off the doors, and then apply this sealer. This is that same Thompson's clear water seal. And before I did this, you saw me plant that plant here in this box. I also added a little metal trellis that I got at Lowe's. Probably should have gotten a little taller of a trellis, but this is just a nice pop of pink and green here. And I wish that I could link this solar light for you. It's still working great here 4 years later, but they no longer sell this or pretty much anything similar on Amazon. By the time I was done with this barn, I could head over and seal that planter box by the back door. And then that evening, I just worked at trimming a few trees, and then we drove around and picked up the branches. I'm going to use those pavers that I got at Lowe's and just create a little flower bed here at the base of this pine tree. I was hoping for this to be a little bit bigger, but I didn't get quite enough stones, so I just had to work with what I had. But I wanted to create a little spot for the birds here, hang up some bird feeders, and then hopefully get some flower seeds growing here at the base of the tree. And then we are going to unbox our bird feeders and get these filled with seed. We have so many beautiful birds around in this area, cardinals, finches, and they have been enjoying these feeders. In just a couple of days they were empty and we had to refill them. We're putting together those feeders here, and these are from Amazon. I'll link them down below. Also just ordered the seed from Amazon as well. The boys had fun helping me put these together, fill them with seed, and get them hung in the tree. Now we can sit on the back porch and watch the birds, and hopefully soon we'll be looking at flowers as well. I've been working on my raised garden beds for a couple of months now, since early spring, and this was back about a month ago when it was still really windy. Here in Arizona, usually in the early springtime, it is very windy, and so that makes working with dirt difficult when everything's so dry and dusty. It's just blowing around everywhere. But in a previous video, you saw me plant some raspberry plants in this first raised bed, and then in the third raised bed, I planted red beets and cucumbers. And now on this day, I was going to plant something in the second raised bed. I'll be adding some strawberry plants, and I ordered these from a small online shop. These are just some little strawberry plants with a good root system, and with these you can put them in the fridge if you don't want to plant them right away when you get them. So I planted half of these, put the other half in the fridge, and then a few weeks later we will plant the rest of these strawberries. But I just topped those rows with some straw to help hold in the moisture and also to protect them from the sun. I have had 3 more raised beds in the boxes stored in our well shed for a couple of years now, because originally I had ordered 6 of these and we only ended up putting together 3. I've been wanting to put the other 3 together, but I have put it off over the years because these are such a process to piece together. For starters, each of the pieces of metal have shrink wrap plastic on them that is very hard to pull off. So the boys were working at getting that plastic off while I was starting to piece together the raised bed. There is also so many screws, so it is just quite a process, and it took us a few hours to get all of these pieced together. And I told the boys, don't worry, 6 is the max, we are not getting any more. But overall, these are a great, good quality metal raised bed if you are looking for something like this, but definitely expect it to be a bit of a project to put together. Took us about almost an hour for each bed. Summer has arrived, so it has been getting very hot. It was time for a break to cool off, get something cold to drink, so I made us some sweet mint tea with tea leaves from my mother-in-law's garden. I'm hoping to fill up a raised bed with some of her mint tea. That way we can have iced tea all summer long. But over the course of a few days, I was working at the process of filling up these raised beds. You can look up online different ideas of layers that you can do, but usually I do cardboard on the bottom, and then we'll do logs as our next layer. You can throw in sticks, and then we added some dirt, some dried chicken manure from a pile over beside our chicken barns, and then my top layer was some bags of garden soil. Home Depot has actually started doing home deliveries for only $35, and with us living over an hour from town, it is so worth paying the $35. So I had someone drop off 12 bags of garden soil, which was such a huge time saver, because otherwise I was going to be scooping up my own dirt from out by the mesquite, hauling it back to the garden beds, and having to shovel it in. Once the raised beds were full, I did plant some flowers in the first raised bed. I'm hoping that this whole raised bed will just fill up with flowers and I can have fresh cut flowers this summer. And then in the next raised bed, I put the rest of those strawberries. So I wanted to give you a really quick tour of my garden beds. I might eventually do gravel around the beds. I'm not really sure. I'm just going to keep it at 6 raised beds. These are way too hard to put together. I'm not going to assemble anymore. This first one, I just planted all of the flower seeds that I had on hand. So we'll see how many actually come up. I'm really hoping that this entire raised bed will be filled with flowers that I can cut for fresh bouquets. This raised bed has red beets, and then there is also some cucumber plants coming up as well. I know the cucumbers will take over basically half, if not more, of this bed, so I only planted the red beets in half of the raised bed. The next 2 raised beds are strawberries. I have 2 rows of strawberries in this bed and 2 rows in this bed over here. These strawberries are doing really well. I planted them probably about 2 weeks ago. They're starting to pop up above the straw here, and the straw just helps to hold in the moisture, protect the tiny little strawberry plants from the hot sun. And then this bed is full of strawberries as well. These are the 2 rows that I just planted. This raised bed is going to be mint so that we can have mint tea in the fridge all summer long. This raised bed is my raspberry bushes. These are doing really well. I've been trying to keep them covered with a bit of straw as well. I've got straw around the plant too, just to help to hold in the moisture and also protect them from that hot sun. So yeah, that's my little garden. I'll keep you updated throughout the summer on how things are growing, and hopefully everything grows well. Now we're assembling our new swimming pool, and I underestimated how difficult this would be for just me and the boys to assemble this pool. We worked on it on this afternoon and evening and then finished it up the following day, and then we installed the pump the day after that. So it was a process, but we did eventually get it completely finished and completely full of water. Okay, so the pool is set up, but it is not quite all the way full yet because we have to wait until we get the sand for the filter, and then we can hook up the filter and then finish filling the pool all the way up. And you can see that the sides are bowed in, and I guess that's normal. They will flex out once the pool is all the way full. We probably won't fill it all the way up. We'll keep it down just until the sides flex out, and then we'll just stop filling it up. It was worth all of the work though. I know the boys are going to have so much fun all summer. During the heat of the summer, they usually swim at the minimum 3 times a day, so they are going to be living in this during the hot months. Now I'm working at transplanting some of this bamboo down to an empty area along this fence row. We have got plants and bushes growing all along this fence row except for 2 different areas. There was a smaller empty area and then this larger area close to the end of the fence row. And these plants, bushes, and trees give us privacy, so I wanted to plant something in these empty areas for more privacy and also just so that there is things growing all along this fence row. I'm not sure what type of bamboo this is, but we've got it growing in 2 different areas on our property, and I wouldn't necessarily say that it's invasive, and the stalks don't really get any wider than what you're seeing here, but they do get really tall and they should fill in nicely, so they're awesome for privacy. This was a big job though. Some of these stalks popped out easily, but some of them were connected to a really huge root that had a lot of different stalks on it. So it just ended up being a big project. I would just kind of work on it a little bit each evening, and the boys help me sometimes. Really glad to finally have this done. And I also did work on a couple more little projects outside and cleanup that I didn't film, but I'm grateful to have everything done outside that I wanted to get done this last month, just kind of getting everything ready for summertime. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed just seeing me work on some landscaping and outdoor house projects here at our home in Arizona. If you enjoyed the video, be sure and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!